Welcome, everybody. I'm so excited to have you all here. Yay.
It's so cool seeing the participants number just go up and up.
It's like those little victories, that everybody talks about, how you need to value the little victories. This is one of them. It's having people come to your event. It's awesome. Welcome, everybody. I'm going to go ahead and get started a little bit. So my name is Arlie Welton. Welcome to our first virtual, well, it's not our first virtual senior week, our second virtual senior week, but our first event of this senior week. We are currently celebrating our graduating seniors. They finish up next week, which is also crazy to think about. I feel like I just graduated a week ago, and it's been since, I don't even know how long it's been since May. I can't do math, but it's been a really long time. So I'm really great to have you all here and get some good information from you. So this is, like I said, the very first event this week for the Alumni Association Senior Week. I am the graduate assistant for the Alumni Association Early Engagement. And so part of my role is to plan fun events like this. So when we were trying to think of ideas for events for all of you, we couldn't stop thinking about the weird situation that you're all in this year with the job market. And so we started thinking, well, how can we get a group of recent alums that also had to search for a job during this pandemic to kind of give some advice? And thus the idea of this panel was born. We hope that you find that this is helpful, and if you have any extra questions after this, follow us at Ohio Alumni on all of our social media, or check out ohio.edu/alumni in the future so you can see our social media and keep up to date with more helpful resources that we may have. Yeah, check out the chat. Dana's going to drop anything that I say that is helpful. Yeah, so if you have any questions throughout the event, if you have a question for one of our panelists, if you just have an overall question, feel free to drop it in the chat below and kind of use that as a social resource for you. And we can get to your questions throughout the event as we keep going. So we're going to go ahead and get started by introducing our panelists a little bit and have them go through and just tell you a little bit more about themselves. So we're gonna go ahead and start with your name, what year you graduated, where you're calling us from, and what is your favorite season in Athens, or your favorite season in Ohio, I guess, if you are a regional person. Sorry, starting, I forget the list that I gave you all, but whoever is first on that can go ahead and get us started. I don't know.
I forget it too, hold on.
Annie, you can go first since you're the first one to speak.
Okay. My name is Annie Goins, and I actually graduated in May of this year, so right as the pandemic was really becoming a thing. And I am calling from Silver Spring, Maryland, which is basically right outside Washington, D.C. My favorite season in Athens is definitely fall. I miss it a lot. I saw the pictures from this fall and cried multiple times looking at the pictures. So yeah, that's me.
Okay, I'll go next. I am calling from Knoxville, Tennessee, and I just graduated in May as well, so graduated, I guess, a bit of a up and down situation with that. And I guess I'd say my favorite season is definitely fall, just seeing all the colors change and getting excited to see the snow in Athens. And I just saw the pictures that were posted today on Instagram, and I got really sad because I really wanted to see that in person.
I'm Simpiwe Shamray. I graduated in August, actually. I'm calling from Chicago, Illinois. Just moved here 2 months ago. My favorite season is fall, I think, in Athens. And I was able to enjoy most of it before I moved here, so that was nice.
Hi, my name is Alexa. I just graduated in August. I am currently living in Columbus, and my favorite season in Athens is definitely summer.
Okay, great. So now that our panelists have gotten a chance to introduce themselves, we're going to go ahead and get started in the questions. So to start off with our first question, when did you start your job search? So did you start your job search before you graduated, after you graduated? What kind of was your time frame there? And what was the most helpful resource for you in finding your job? Annie, if you want to start us off, feel free. You're muted.
So I guess for me, I started my job search like literally the winter before I graduated, because I had this idea in my head that I was going to have a job by the time I graduated. That was my set plan. That is what I wanted to do. However, it didn't end up like that. So I had started searching in probably November of 2019, and then kept searching and didn't actually get my job until July of 2020. And honestly, the most helpful resource for me in finding my job was LinkedIn. LinkedIn offered me the most, the widest search area, I guess, for jobs in my field. And it's how I found the job that I have now. So it was just a matter of just pretty much trolling LinkedIn daily and just applying for whatever jobs that I could.
Also, if you could mention what your job is, because I don't think I asked that question. So if you could, when you answer this question, let us know what your job is first. That would be great. Annie, you can.
I am a copy editor with Montgomery County Public Schools, which is based out of Rockville, Maryland. And we are, I think, the 16th biggest school district in the nation and the first biggest school district in Maryland. We have, I want to say, about 65,000 total students within our county across all grade levels. And I work with the deputy superintendent. So I basically edit documents that come from our Office of Employee Engagement and Labor Relations. I edit presentations for the Board of Education. I edit presentations for the superintendent himself. Basically anything that they tell me to edit, it comes across my desk. That's what I work on.
Okay, so I also kind of started looking for jobs post winter break. So after my busy fall semester, I kind of was like, okay, now it's time to start working on finding a job. So obviously this was before we really knew the pandemic was going to shut everything down and close everything. So I was super set on, again, also having the idea of I will have a job before I graduate. I will be ready to go. As soon as I graduate, I get in a car and I go wherever it is I'm going. And that didn't happen. So I think by the time April rolled around, I had 2 job opportunities that were canceled. And of course, one of them was like my dream job. I am a digital video content specialist at Channel 6 in Knoxville. So it's just a fancy way of saying I go out, I film, and then I edit the shows, and I do a couple short stories as well at our TV station. So I had an opportunity with ESPN, and as soon as that one got canceled, I was kind of like, I need to take a break from looking for jobs because I was really upset about that one. So I kind of got back into that probably late May. I'd say I found a part-time job. I figured I need to do something to stay busy for a little bit. I can't be constantly looking through websites 8 hours a day. It just gets tired and upsetting after a while because you don't hear from people, and the little amount of opportunities that there were at the time was very also upsetting. But I really was looking on Nexstar, Sinclair, and Gray are all 3 really, really big companies that own TV stations all around the nation. So those 3 websites were really what I was looking at specifically. LinkedIn, I would look in here and there. I would find connections and kind of see where they are, where they started, and kind of all that. I was kind of all over the board when it came to what exactly I wanted to do and where I wanted to start. Indeed was also another website that I really looked into and was on every couple hours, just updating it, kind of checking it everywhere. Specifically, I wanted to stay in Ohio, but then I realized that's a little bit of a big market for me, and I need to start somewhere small with what I'm doing. So that's kind of how I ended up in Knoxville.
Alrighty, so I was supposed to I had a plan to leave Athens. That was like my main goal before even getting a job, was just leaving Athens because I grew up there, so I knew I wanted to leave. So I centered everything around that. I had an internship which was supposed to turn into a full-time position at Northwestern for the summer. And for a while, it seemed like it wasn't going to get canceled. But I think like late May, we officially got canceled for the summer. At least some of us did. So that just changed my whole plan. I really started applying for jobs after that fell through because I felt pretty confident about like doing my 3 months at Northwestern at the Center for Talent Development and then hopefully getting a full-time job. And they kind of just left us with like, I don't know, we'll get back to you if things get better. So I really didn't want to wait. So I used mostly LinkedIn every day, trying to reach out to people and applying for jobs. I knew I wanted to move to Chicago too, so that's where I centered most of my jobs. I was also trying to stay open to other places, so like once a week I would try to find another place as a backup plan, and I would apply for jobs there, but I mostly applied for jobs in Chicago. And that's how I found my job with McMaster-Carr, which is a supply chain company. It's located in the suburbs of Chicago, but we're working from home until June of next summer. So I'm just here in my place. Right now I'm working with the product and publishing sector of it. So they have like online publications and then a catalog and an app. I specifically do pricing. So I just do market research on different products, and then we make a clear pricing decision, which is fair to the consumer, while also thinking about the value that we add as a company. Yeah.
So I currently work as a technical recruiter for Nesco Resource. I started my job search in around May, and I got my job in July, which was about a month before I graduated. And what really helped me throughout my job search was LinkedIn, like everyone else said, and as well as Monster and Career Builder. It just allowed me to apply for a lot of jobs really quick and easy way. So.
Very nice, everyone. Thank you. All right, next question. What was your biggest obstacle in your job search, and how did you overcome it?
So I guess honestly the biggest struggle for me was just not getting discouraged when I didn't hear back from employers, because even from the advice of all the other people, I still kind of took it personally when they didn't respond back to me. Like, I remember there was a position I had applied for that I had gotten a first round interview with, and I was extremely passionate about it because it was a nonprofit in the area of mental health, which was it's just a big thing I'm proud of. And they said that they would get back to me after the first interview, whether I was going to go into the second interview or not. Like, they would get back to me either way, and they didn't ever get back to me, which kind of sucks. But it's just, that was my biggest challenge, was just not getting discouraged when companies essentially would ghost me after I had gone through an interview or gone through the application process.
I am kind of in the same boat with that, applying to like 500 jobs and hearing back from only 5 different people. It's very disheartening kind of, and kind of discouraging as well, because I mean, you go through and you're like, oh yeah, I totally have this job, like I'm 100% qualified for it, I'm possibly overqualified for it, I'm in the area or something, and then you never hear back from them, and it's just like waiting and waiting, and then you don't know, well, what if they'll get back to me a month from now, and then you do hear back from other people, and it's like, well, do I wait, do I not, how do I know? So I think the waiting process was probably the hardest part for me, because I was so set. I'm like, I need a job. I need it like as soon as possible. So patience was something that I really learned and appreciated with this whole process.
Yeah, I would share the same sentiment as Annie and Molly. It's just trying not to get discouraged when you don't hear anything back. And also, applying for jobs sometimes can feel like you haven't done anything, and just like trying to fight that feeling of like, you've submitted something and you have to wait at some point, like, to hear back. Like, you can only do so much in one day, and you're not going to hear back immediately. So, like, accepting the fact that you have done something today, and you can wait and move on. But yeah, also not taking it personally when you get ghosted by recruiters, because it happens all the time. There's also great literature on it. I think a lot of it came out during this time of people who were just like very honest about their experience getting ghosted by recruiters, and how it's okay to feel some type of way, like, because it is hurtful, like the time you put in to write a cover letter, like all of your experience and like how it matches up with what they want, it can be very hurtful. So familiarizing yourself with that literature and like expressing those feelings of being hurt helps a lot.
Yeah, kind of going off what everyone else said, like just kind of getting my biggest obstacle was just getting discouraged in things when I wouldn't get the jobs that I was thinking that I was like almost a shoe-in for. Throughout my college career, I dedicated a lot of time and effort into my sorority, and I applied to a position within my sorority, and not getting that position was probably that probably hurt me the most, because it was someone that interviewed me that I knew, and I thought, oh, I definitely got this one. So after kind of going through that and just not getting discouraged and stuff was the big hardest thing to kind of overcome. But then once I kind of got less emotionally attached to every job and just applied to as many as I could and stuff, then everything started to pick up a lot.
That's some really beautiful advice. I know that I personally struggle a lot with having strong emotional attachments to aspects of my life that you shouldn't necessarily, like your job. And it makes the job search kind of hard because you just take it all so personally. For our next question, tell us about the people that helped you along the process. Did you have a mentor? Did you lean on like your peers, fellow graduates, or did you have like a strong network of people that you kind of created throughout undergrad that you kind of leaned on?
So for me, I definitely leaned on just a network that I had built up just through a bunch of internship opportunities. While I was in college, I interned at Cincinnati Magazine, and I also interned abroad in Russia. So I had connections even abroad at that point. But also it was mainly just kind of leaning on my parents for advice as well. My dad was a fellow OU grad, and he knew the struggle. He knew what it was like, and he told me ahead of time, he's like, just know that getting a job in this time is going to be tough and it's going to be difficult, but I know that you can do it. Besides that, I am pretty close with the now retired director of the journalism school, Dr. Robert Stewart. So he helped me out a little bit with my job search, just kind of reaching out to people he knew and see if they were looking for someone with my qualifications. And really, it's just taking advantage of all the connections I made in college through my RA job, through my internships, through my extracurriculars, everything like that, because they each had their own connections that they could connect me to. And not even that, I had like an endless list of people who could provide reference letters for me and things like that, which was so nice. And definitely building up a network and having that network to lean on and ask for advice is so helpful. And don't ever be afraid to ask your network for advice, because I guarantee you they're happy to give it to you.
So I really mainly just leaned on my parents. Unfortunately, the network that I was kind of using to help me kind of like push through the whole hiring process the companies that they were working for were in a hiring freeze. And those were the first companies that they had worked for. So they really didn't know where to send me, like to who to go to, like that whole thing. So I was kind of on my own a little bit. My mom has worked in HR for most of her life. So she told me, she's like, we are in a hiring freeze. A lot of people are on furlough. So like, it's not you, it's everybody. She's like, obviously, post-grads now are having the most difficult time, or like people who have only graduated for a year or two, like last one in, first one out was a really big thing this year, unfortunately. But my parents were kind of like, patience is a virtue, especially right now. Rely on just being able to live somewhere and have the support that I have from within the household that I was in, which was really nice. So I guess having that kind of kept me from having mental breakdowns like every other day with not being able to find a job. So yeah.
Yeah, I relied on my parents quite a bit. My dad would edit a lot of my cover letters every day. And then also one of my supervisors who was supposed to work for Northwestern, after he called me to basically say I didn't have a job, he was also very helpful and was like willing to help me find other stuff. So anytime I needed a letter of rec or a reference, he was like the first person I would list, especially because he works in Chicago, so it was nice. And he would send me jobs here and there to apply for. So that was really helpful. And then, yeah, definitely the parents and the people that you're with, relying on them was like very crucial.
I would agree with the parents portion, just helping me kind of make it possible for me to move from my hometown and things like that, as well as just my friends from college. Had a lot of friends that were journalist majors that did a great job editing my resume, cover letters, and things like that. So that was super helpful throughout my job search.
Excellent. Thank you, everybody. Dana also plugged in the chat the Bobcat Network, which is like our own little LinkedIn where you can connect with fellow Bobcats and other people like that. And it's really cool. And coming up soon, we will have jobs posted on there as well. So definitely make a profile on the Bobcat Network. And also, shameless plug to my own event, join us tomorrow at 4 p.m. for How to Happy Hour with the Bobcat Network. For our next question, what advice would you give to someone who is looking to make a physical move for their job when they might not be able to tour the city beforehand given the current circumstances?
So I can definitely relate to this. I was not specifically looking to get a job outside of Ohio. I was open to the possibility, of course, but I haven't been to the DC area since I was in 8th grade. So it's obviously been a while, and I obviously had never like lived here or anything. So it was definitely daunting. So if you are willing to make that physical move to go and follow where the job is, definitely do it. Like, I don't regret anything. I don't regret moving out here. And it'll be a struggle for a little bit. It definitely will, especially during this time when you can't like really go out and meet people, which has been a little bit hard, but it's definitely worth it, because I mean, if anything, it just gives you a huge change in perspective, and it just makes you incredibly thankful for everything that you have, especially in this time. And I am very grateful that I have a family that was willing to help me move out here, so that I didn't have to pay for movers or anything like that. And it's just, my recommendation, if you are willing to make that physical move, but maybe don't have the money right at the moment, especially in this time that we live in right now, maybe say, I can work from home from here in Ohio or wherever you are living or currently living, and say, I can work from home for you guys from here for a little bit, and then I can move out at so-and-so date, which is what I ended up doing with my job. Since we were entirely remote at the time I got hired, I told them, I'll be in Ohio, but I can still work on my computer on anything that you need me to do. And they ended up doing that. And that's how I got a couple paychecks under my belt before I had to make my huge move 8 hours away to Maryland.
To kind of continue with that, as a side note, I guess companies are so understanding, especially if you are moving from a couple states away. I know I told them, I was like, hey, I'm moving from Ohio. I needed a little bit more money to be able to move and not have to pay for movers and everything, and to make sure I lived in a nice area. I had to pay a little bit more money. So, I mean, companies will be like, well, we want you, so we're going to do what we can to get you here and to make sure that you are working for us as soon as possible. But when it comes to actually moving, I was lucky enough that my parents said, okay, you got the job, let's go visit. It's only a 5.5 hour drive from home, but I did as much research as I possibly could. I went to their visitknoxville.com website, but then I also went to Pinterest. Because that has all the blogs and the actual personal stories that I thought were really important to learning about the city, because you learn more about it there on a personal level than you would from what the city itself wants you to know. And then I was able to figure out, there's actually an OU grad at my television station who I reached out to her and was like, okay, tell me absolutely everything that you know already about Knoxville. Tell me where to go, where not to go. So just making the connections with the people that you are working with immediately, especially people that are brand new. Ask your employer, I don't know if they can give you a list or like, hey, who recently who was the last person that you hired? And kind of just get their information or something, find them on Facebook or whatever. And just, do as much research as you possibly can. We're at the age now where we should be moving and trying new places, trying new things. You learn a lot about yourself being outside of college and being on your own and being an adult for the first time. I know I've realized that it's different than college, that's for sure. You live alone in college, but you really live alone when you're away from home and doing adult things. It was weird coming home and not having to do homework. I feel like that was definitely something I was like, okay, well now I actually have to go find stuff to do. So I think that because I got the chance to move, I'm able to do a lot more now, which is really cool.
Yeah, I'll start off by saying if you're on the fence about moving during a pandemic, I would say do it. Do it. There are challenges, but I don't know, do it and do it early. I don't think you should wait. But yeah, moving to a new city during all of this was super challenging. Finding roommates and living and stuff, was extremely challenging. You couldn't even visit places in person. I know Chicago specifically has a really big OU presence. There are so many OU alumni here, so it was very easy to text people and ask them what they thought about neighborhoods and different living communities and different spaces, and everyone was really honest, so it was nice to base that to make a decision. One thing I recommend is if you have the chance to move right now, I would say move to a place with roommates. With the pandemic, you're stuck at home, and I don't know, it's easy to feel alone during this time, so it's nice to have 2 or 3 other people in your space with you that you can hang out with. And now there's also no aspect of homework, so you have a lot of time, but there's nothing to do honestly some days. So it is nice to find some people that you don't mind sharing space with and spending time with them right now.
So I moved to Columbus, which I'm originally from Youngstown, so it's about 2.5, 3 hours away. So it's a lot closer than everyone else. But and it was a different situation because I had a lot of friends from college and everything that lived pretty close to the area, which was super helpful with finding apartments and things like that. It just gave a lot of more opportunities available, making a move and everything. So it was definitely something I'm really excited for, and I'm really excited for when this pandemic is over and stuff, and so I can actually make friends in the area. But just something to look forward to.
Okay, great. That was some really beautiful advice, everyone. I was like sitting here, like listening to you say, Cynthia, that you should have roommates, and in my apartment that I live in by myself. And I was thinking about like how like pure that advice is, because it's so true. Like I miss having people to just go sit on their bed and be like, "What are you doing?" And it's really like something you value a lot. And like, I don't know, I love my alone time, but not as much as I enjoy bothering people that I really care about. Um, for our next question, I want to know what your golden piece of advice is. Like, what is above all, like the thing that you think everybody should know?
That is a large question.
It's a heavy question.
um, Honestly, for me, I think it's, especially in the job search, don't give up your health or your values just to get a job. I got incredibly lucky in that I work for a really great school district, which means I have really great benefits, and I work in an office full of like amazing, powerful, inspiring women. And it's just don't settle is my thing. Like as much as you're going to want to hop on like the first job that you find, make sure you apply to a ton of others, wait to hear back for at least a little bit from the ones you are a little bit more interested in, because you're going to want a place that's going to give you great benefits, that's going to accept you for who you are. Because that was a big thing for me, is I wanted a place where I would be accepted for being a queer person. And I am very lucky that I got the job that I did. So that would be my golden piece of advice, is just don't settle.
Yeah. Again, don't settle. Apply to every single job that you can. And I guess if you have big aspirations and you want to own your own company someday, or you want to make your own TV show or something, obviously, like for that kind of stuff, you have to start at the bottom, but find a job that has the culture and the opportunity to grow as much as possible. I know that that's the situation that I'm in, and I'm very grateful for the job that I have and how much I have already learned so far. I wasn't much of a writer in college, but I've been doing a lot more and learning a lot more than I thought I would have in the short amount of time that I've been here. And if you do get the chance to go visit where you're going to be working, or where you could possibly be working, talk to the people outside of your boss, outside of the HR person. Talk to someone who's sitting in their cube, who has maybe been there for a year or two, and see what they have to say about it. Go in the lunchroom, talk to those people, because you want to get the unfiltered version of what that company is like. And if they say, I've learned a lot, or I'm really kind of stuck at where I was 2 months ago, it kind of gives you a better feel of what you're getting yourself into. So get the bottom feeders of the place before you fully commit, I'd say, and make sure that there is a lot of room for you to grow.
Yeah, I would just echo what was said. Don't take the first job that you get if it's not truly what you want. It's easy to feel like right now you have no leverage. And I totally get that. Like I feel like I felt that for most of summer, but like you have valid experiences and you've done your time in your internships or whatever you've done. So if it means not accepting an offer, don't accept the offer. Go somewhere where you feel valued. And it does hurt to not accept. There were like 2 offers that I was like, I feel like I should take these, but like honestly, I would have given up so much of myself. So being okay with not accepting offers that you don't feel completely comfortable with, and you will get a job. You've put in the work, the 4-6 years, however many in college, plus your internships, it will happen at some point. So.
Yeah, going off what everyone else said about like waiting till you get a job that you really can see yourself in the long term. And definitely something, I work in staffing, and then something we say that we look for in candidates is like hungry, humble, smart. So someone that is hungry as in like they want more for themselves, that are constantly wanting to improve themselves, someone that is able to take feedback and really apply it to themselves, and someone that is smart for the industry and being able to properly react to the people around them and things like that. I feel like that's something that really helped me throughout the job search and everything.
Very nice. I love your advice about like not settling and not being locked in. We had a speaker come to one of my classes, and they were saying that if you can't feel comfortable being yourself at the place of work that you are going to be hired in, then you're not going to feel comfortable like growing or getting to know any of those people. So like that, I know nobody asked what my golden piece of advice is, but that would be mine as well. For our next question, getting down to our last couple here, what have you done during COVID to help make connections in your new city?
For me, since I work in a very small office within obviously a bigger system of the school district. So we really, including me, we only have 6 people that work in my office, which means we have a very easy way of keeping social distance and being safe while we're all in the office. So it's honestly been so nice just to listen to them, and just become friends with them. And like they're all older than me, but I can still come to them with any concerns I have or any questions I have. And that's just been really great. And they're really my first friends that I've made out here in this completely new state. And hopping back to a question earlier, I was able to visit for like a day before I moved out here. And that day I visited, 2 of my coworkers were in the office, and they helped me decide, this is a good neighborhood, this is a bad neighborhood. Like, what do you think of this apartment that you're looking at? Like, here's what we think of it, and here's our recommendations and things like that. So I would say, honestly, just getting to know your coworkers in whatever capacity you can. And if your city is letting you and you can do so in a safe way, just kind of go out and explore the local restaurants. I've done that a couple times, even if I'm just ordering through DoorDash. I try to order from a local place, and not go to like the big chains, like Smashburger, McDonald's, stuff like that. I try to order from the local places, and I've discovered some really great food. So I would say, yeah, just kind of talk to your coworkers in whatever capacity you can. And then as long as you're staying safe, kind of explore the local food scene, because that's a great place to meet people, and honestly meet people from other cultures. I am lucky to live in an area where white people are actually the minority. We have more Hispanic people living in this area than we do white people. So it's been really interesting coming from my very white bread suburban hometown, going to a place here where I regularly hear Spanish, a variety of different African languages. I have also regularly heard Russian here, which is pretty cool. So yeah, just get to know your area in whatever safe way possible.
I've only been here for a month. Tomorrow will actually be like my 1-month anniversary of working here. So I haven't really gotten to do too much. But again, like, get to know your coworkers. If you can hang out with them after, do that in a safe way. And as well as exploring the local restaurants. I went out to the courthouse one time, and I was shadowing one of our other video people, and we sat and talked about the different places and things to do for like 2 hours, because we had to wait for 2 hours, unfortunately. But just talking to them and being like, so you've been here for how long? What do you like to do? What did you start doing when you first got here? And yeah, like door dashing from local restaurants and stuff. Alexa, if you like pizza, Bren's Pizza, I've never heard of them, but I think they're only specific to college towns. They're in Columbus, and I'm sad I didn't know that they were in Columbus when I lived there. Try that place out. It was really good, and I've had it like 3 times already. But definitely finding the different restaurants, the holes in the wall places, just walking around. I mean, everywhere has bike paths now. Everywhere is turning their urban areas into like green spaces as well, which is really cool. Knoxville obviously has the Smoky Mountains, so Gatlinburg is a short 45 minutes away from me, and I plan on visiting that place as often as I possibly can.
Yeah, getting to know your coworkers is extremely important. It also is honestly weird via Zoom. I think I was hired with like a cohort of 20 people, and the first 3 days of training went by really slowly because we were all kind of stiff and shy. But like after that, after we started actually talking to each other while we were going through training, um, it just like the whole experience became better. So making those connections in any way we can right now is still important and goes a long way. Um, yeah, and exploring the place you move, just like I don't know, immersing yourself in the place and the neighborhood, wherever it may be. Try to enjoy the things, the little things. Yeah, a lot of local restaurants is something I will also advocate for, especially like in the spirit of trying to keep small businesses alive during this time. It's a great way to meet like the local people who run the economy most of the time. And also, yeah, I'll say it again, like roommates, especially if they've lived in that city. Like I took over someone's lease, so I have two people who've lived here for a while. So it's always nice to hear what they have to say, and outings with them are always really fun. So.
So, I work in a smaller office, so there's only about like four coworkers I have working with me right now. So, a lot of the way I've met people in the area was that my apartment actually does like Zoom like happy hours and stuff, and like just joining some of those like events, like they might be a little bit cheesy and stuff, but I met so many great people and stuff, and I'm so excited for quarantine to be over, and so I could actually meet these people in person and stuff, like knowing that they live like 3 floors up from me or something. Like I'm really excited to actually be able to hang out with them once everything calms down.
Excellent. I honestly should probably take your advice a little bit more on like social circles because I am also in a weird situation right now. And then I guess for our last question to wrap us all up here, what is one thing? Sorry, Annie, I just saw your cat. And he's very cute. What is one thing you would do differently if you were to do it all over again? Job search, undergrad, I don't know. Interpret that the way you will.
That is another big question. Honestly, for me, just throughout the job search and honestly throughout undergrad, for me, it would just be don't be afraid to talk to random people. And I kind of regret all the time I spent walking around campus with my headphones in, trying to actively avoid talking to people. Because there's so many interesting people that live in Athens, and you never know where those conversations will take you, because they might get you your job, they might lead you to an extracurricular you'd enjoy, or a volunteer organization you can join. And that's honestly one of the things I wish I could do over, is just kind of go back and just kind of take my younger self and just pull the headphones out and be like, just listen and say hi when people say hi. Like that's all you need to do. And you never know where those conversations are going to lead. And I had to do that a lot with my RA job, where I just met random staff members and we ended up becoming fast friends. Like two of my very best friends I met through my RA job. And I just think of all the opportunities I missed to have those really great relationships just because I wasn't paying attention.
I would say get an on-campus job. Or I lived in Washington my freshman year. I loved it, but the floor that I lived on was the top floor, and unfortunately, all the rooms are so spread out because they're like skinny and long. So there are maybe like 10 other people on my floor. I wish I lived in GAM freshman year. I'll be honest. I really do. It was a grimy place, but it was a grimy place to make friends. So either live in a dorm that had square rooms so you were close to your neighbors, and obviously like everyone hated working in like Nelson and Boyd and everything, but I know people who made such good friends through that. So, I mean, even if it was like 5 hours a week, I wish I had done that, and same thing, like take your headphones off, walk around, talk to people, and like even joining intramurals by yourself. I relied on having at least one other person to join with, and unfortunately that shot me in the foot a couple times because it fell through. And I really didn't get into that until senior year, which I did it and I was like, oh, I missed out big time on doing more stuff. I was super busy, but I knew I had time. I could make time if it meant meeting people from different backgrounds and in different schools and different majors and all that stuff.
I would say one thing that would have benefited me is, I think, like 2 weeks into my job, I think I realized that I just like wasn't in a position to know anything. I had an RA position for 3 years, so I was used to like people asking me questions or having an answer for someone, or like at least having some kind of leadership role. And I think like 2 weeks into my job, I realized like it's like being a first year. So like accepting that and like learning and being open to learning. Yeah, it just like it hit me so hard. I was like, yeah, I really don't know, or like I don't know where I'm supposed to be, like stuff like that. And it was hard to deal with, but also just accepting it and then learning from that. So when like 6 months from now, when there's a new hire, you can be like able to guide them.
I feel like going off what everyone else said, just having confidence, with like what Molly said about or joining intramurals by yourselves and things like that, just joining things, putting yourself out there and having the confidence to like put yourself out there and make those connections, and make friends wherever you go and things like that. I feel like that is probably the most helpful thing, is when you have that confidence to do those types of things, put yourself out there.
I was trying to unmute and the like, the dock on a MacBook, was like popping up and it wouldn't let me unmute. And I was like, please, please, please. Anyway, that was great, everybody. Thank you so much for all of your sound advice. Honestly, it made me feel a lot better. So I'm just going to assume that it made everybody else feel better too. Robbie, you can give me a vibe check on that one and let me know if I'm right. But thank you all so much for coming out tonight. Thank you all of our lovely panelists for speaking. I hope that you take away some wisdom that can help ease your job search. Annie, do you have a question?
I was just wondering, would you like us to drop like our socials or our contact information for the participants? So if they have questions, they can reach out.
Yes, feel free. Feel free to drop your like LinkedIn and everything like that. Make a profile on the Bobcat Network and connect with the people that are speaking today. It'll be really cool. Join us tomorrow again, like I said at the beginning, for How To Happy Hour. There will be prizes. So if you want to win prizes for just coming and learning how to use the Bobcat Network, please do. That is everything that we have today. I'm gonna keep talking for a second so that the meeting doesn't end while people are like putting stuff down in the chat or anything like that. I guess I didn't ask if there were any questions from the audience, but if anybody had any questions, feel free to also drop those in the chat and I can read them out. But thank you all so much for an amazing event. I hope that if you're graduating this semester, that this brought some peace to you. Also check us out at ohio.edu/alumni for all to like stay in touch and update your contact information if you've graduated from this university, please.
I just did that today. Highly recommend. Oh, Simba's trying to join.
Now everybody should update their contact information. I hadn't updated mine and I did it, so everybody should do it now.
Yes, you should definitely do it, because I was still getting mail sent to my parents' house from the alumni association. Like I got my tassel and everything sent there.
There is a package that was sent out to 2020 grads that has like a tassel and stuff in it. And if you haven't gotten it, then you should you want it. Yeah. Look at all these helpful links. Fun fact for everybody that's joining us today. Annie was my first friend in life, and our parents were roommates at OU together when they went here, and that is how
Yep.
we met together. She's also very qualified and smart and lovely. I asked to be here.
Yeah,
Alrighty.
we've been friends quite literally since we were babies. So, and she lived in the room exactly like right below me in Washington Hall our freshman year. So that was a fun time.
Bobcat family. Like really, we didn't really get really close until after like school and stuff. So like make friends when you're in school. If you're watching this, like make your friends.
Make friends.
All right. And with that, I will say goodbye to all of you. So thank you all for attending. Thank you for coming out. This was awesome. I'm super lucky and happy. So have a wonderful day, everyone, evening, wherever you are in the world.
Bye.
Bye, team.